10 years of working with manufacturing data, helping factories bring their software to their screen so that they can reduce their scrap, eliminate their defects, automatize those manual reportings, and of course, do predictive maintenance and prevent machine failure before they happen. So today, we are going to talk about machine failure and most of all about predictive maintenance. Because if you're working in manufacturing, you want your machines to perform well for as long as possible, and you can do it with data. So that's what I'm going to present you now, and the difference between predictive and the corrective maintenance to interfere to your machines when there is urgency versus interfere to the machines when you predict errors through the data. So let's jump to my screen now. And as you know, this is Andreas Letros, and welcome to this live corrective versus predictive maintenance, the art of early detection. And in most of the factories, quality and maintenance are usually the firefighters, the people that are going to work with urgency to save the production. And actually, what they should be saying about maintenance specialist is they should include in their CV that, hey, when someone calls you, you really have to let everything you're doing and run to save the scene. And I don't care if you have another work that you're doing or if you are on a break to smoke or eating, or especially when you are sleeping. You need to be available all the time and you have to rush to save the production because otherwise you have downtimes, you have loss of production, or you have quality issues and you have to fix the issues as quickly as possible. And this is the corrective maintenance. This is working with urgency. This is working with the downtimes and preventing things to get worse. This is the traditional way maintenance is working, and that's why maintenance is the job that is the most stressful. There is the other type of maintenance. There is the preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance is when you have from the supplier of your machinery an indication that says every 6 months, every 1 year, every 10,000 pieces interfere to your machinery so that you prevent failures and then you can do a quick checkup. And there's the other one. There is the predictive maintenance. Predictive maintenance is when you can spot failures, spot small degradations through your data, and you can interfere before a failure happens. And I will show you an example now, an analogy with car services. So if you bring your car to a car technician, and he has the corrective maintenance mentality, he will tell you, hey, is it broken? The car? Okay, so don't bring it to me unless it's broken. I want to fix something that's still working. So when you go to the technician, it means that it's urgent and you have to do it as quickly as possible because you are without a car. On the other side, the predictive maintenance mentality is when you follow what the car provider is saying. Do a checkup every 10,000, 15,000 kilometers. The checkup every year so that you can prevent some errors and you can go on the safe side. And the other is the predictive maintenance. Predictive maintenance says if you see X, Y, Z indicator on your machine, on your sensors, then come to me for a quick checkup. And this is usually what the newest cars, the most modern cars are having indicators about the pressure, about the oil, about the temperature, and so that tells you, hey, you need to do a checkup before you have a breakdown. These are the three different mentalities, and I would like to ask you in this case, which car is going to last longer? The first one you wait for it to break down to go to the technician, or the preventive that you visit the technician as a supplier of the car asked for, or the one that you follow every single indication and you do the checkups according to the indications that the sensors of the car are telling you. And definitely, everybody knows the answer. That's why the machine manufacturers, the car manufacturers, are providing those sensors, and that's why the car service providers are working on this way, and they do regular checkups. And go back to the machines now, because machines work in the same way, just that they are more complicated. And when you have machines, the breakdowns are a series of small, tiny daily degradations that get accumulated day by day. And one day, something all of a sudden breaks. Breaks, you have a breakdown. And those daily small degradations are not possible to observe during the day, during a busy day, with the urgencies, production, and all the noise that happens on the shop floor. So they go unnoticed, and unfortunately, unlike the cars, there are no real warning signs on the machine monitor that a failure has started accumulating. And if you see some, because you may think right now, yeah, we have indications, we know, um, you know how machines work. If you have, usually it's already too late. If temperature, pressure, and other parameters of the machine are out of specification, probably it's too late. The valve may be clogged, the valve needs to change, you need to stop the machine, you have quality defects, and you don't really have real indications at this point. Unlike the cars, machines have cost much more. They can cost millions to create. You have definitely consequences when they break, and it means you stop production. It means you you are late on your deliveries. When the car breaks, you take the bus. They are more complicated. They are irreplaceable. They have direct impact on the profit, on how much you are earning as a company, and the cost of doing a checkup is much lower. Why? Because you have the maintenance technician available during the workday, and they can do checkups pretty quickly. If you go for the car, if you want to do a checkup for your car, you need to leave your job, go to the car service, pay them to do it extra, and so on. So uh, you do the call. So that makes more sense in this case to when you deal with machines to have a predictive maintenance policy. Not always. You definitely need to work with urgency. You definitely need firefighters. You definitely need to prevent errors, but you can save a lot of trouble every year by having predictive maintenance policy. And how can you do that? You can only understand the small degradations that we talked before by visualizing and watching the trends of your machine data. And I will show you a little bit now what I mean by that. In the machine monitor, you will see at this moment the temperature, the pressure, the settings of the machine, how it's working. But in the real picture, if you see machine data, you may be able to see that some of the products were created out of specification. You may see that there is trends. You may see variability. You may see um, some models working differently than the others, something that you cannot really see with a machine model. And that's what we call predictive maintenance. And predictive maintenance helps you understand the data so that you can predict problems before they happen. And this is here an example. I set a trend and I interfere when the trend starts happening instead of interfering when I cross the red lines of my specification, and I prevent having quality defects or machine breakdowns. The same happens with this example here. This is from oil production, and since this company didn't really have a way to see those data, they were producing inside the tolerances, but they, instead of interfering when the threats started happening, they interfered when the machine stopped the red line. And this is when you have a breakdown, and this is when it costs much more to do the intervention instead of interfering when the trend starts happening, when you start seeing the outlier. There is another example here with temperatures. You can see that the machine temperature is having a trend, and maybe it has a trend every single day. And instead of interfering when the trends are happening, you interfere when you have the warning from the machine. The warning from the machine is the red. The real degradation started happening when the trend started going upwards. This is the power of predictive maintenance. If you have a predictive maintenance policy for your more important machines, you have a list of 20 possible, 20 to 50 possible errors that you can definitely predict. And that's the power of it. And that is the way that you can save a lot of time, you can avoid urgencies, and you can maintain your quality on the desired levels. And now I would like to show you one example from my first predictive maintenance project. And this is when I actually had hair, I didn't have beard, I looked much younger. That was the first time I was working in a factory, basically. I think it was 6 months working in a factory. First time I saw data or used the data. And what happened was I was analyzing data from a machine that is injecting foam to products, and they had basically 10 injectors. And I was analyzing the pressure from those injectors, and more specifically, the mean every hour and the range between and the maximum deviation from between the observations inside this hour. And what I realized was that the health injector reacts this way. The mean is always inside the tolerances, and the deviation is lower than a specific level. But one of those 10 injectors had this behavior. Mean inside the tolerances, but the deviation was much higher than the other ones. And that creates concerns. You understand what happens. You can imagine that something is not going well in this case. So, since I was kind of inexperienced then and didn't really know what it could mean, I asked some technicians, and we informed the team leader of maintenance. And we informed him about this. And we said injector number 9 or 7. I remember it was 9 or 7. I think it was injector number 9. Have this behavior. please check what's happening. And he went to a technician, to a maintenance technician. He asked for intervention, and the technician, in the beginning, he refused because he had the corrective maintenance mentality. Hey, I went to the machine, I saw it works correctly. Why do I need to interfere? I see the pressure is okay, and he refused to do it. He said I have a lot of work, and the team leader insisted one time, two times, third time. He said, "Hey, you need to do it. I'm your boss. You have to interfere." And when he interfered, the machine, something very yeah, interesting happened. He found out that the valve of this specific injector was clogged. Was clogged from residual of materials. Was clogged from was very dirty, and that was the reason why we had this um, deviation. And, and when we realized that, he cleaned it and he prevented to have to order a new valve, have to interfere, have to have breakdown. Maybe if he would wait more, he would have to stop the machine or even call the machine provider. So you can imagine that just by understanding a little bit of data and finding out about the outliers, we saved so much money from this company, so much urgency from this person, and machine breakdowns. So that's the power of predictive maintenance. I'll close it here. Thank you so much for watching. And as I was saying, predictive maintenance is allowed to happen when you have data and when you have the possibility to understand your trends, understand outliers, and figure out when the machine starts degrading so that you can interfere before a problem happens. This way, you can prevent 10, 20, or even 50 possible errors from the machine without having to go into the urgency mode. With that, you need two things. First of all, is what I said now, the data. But the second thing is the mentality. If you have a mentality of proactivity, of prevention, of trusting your data, you will be able to save, to interfere quickly, and you are going to trust what the data are telling you, and you are going to reap the benefits. If you have a traditional mindset, traditional culture, when you interfere to the machine only when a problem happens, then even if you have the right indicators, you are not going to be able to prevent those issues. So what we want is data plus culture that will trust the data and will work proactively. So this is Andreas Letros. I help factories bring their software on their screen, and if you wish and to reap those benefits of the predictive maintenance and protect your assets for as long as possible, make sure to contact me. I would be really happy to work with you, and we are going to have an amazing result through a project like that. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next live, which is going to happen next week. Bye bye.